Chapter 1, Ashfall Memory. The asteroid known as Nearest-12 wasn't a place you'd find on any star map anymore. It had been decommissioned by the Concorde 30 years ago, stripped of name, purpose, and future. But people still lived here, or rather, they endured. Cal Ryan crouched beside a thermal vent, the heat pulsing against his face as he slid a fragment of old Terran alloy into a side satchel. The air stank of sulfur and scorched plasma from yesterday's meltdown in Section F. The miners had barely contained it. Another inch to the right and the entire shaft would have gone nova. "Kyle," a voice crackled through his makeshift comlink. "You planning to bring that relic back or marry it?" He grinned. "Depends. Is it more loyal than Syrah?" "Hey," his sister barked in the background, clearly within earshot. "Next time you're stuck with a broken loader and vacuum, don't expect me to fix it." Kyle tapped the comm. "Love you too." He moved cautiously. Beneath Nearest-12's rock layers were tunnels not charted on any Concord-approved maps. Old Terran miners had carved these before the exile, a time when humans still had pride, ships, and a homeworld. That was all ash now. Earth, they said, was consumed by solar fire. But Kale had seen things. Data fragments, corrupted logs, even a transmission embedded with Terran ciphers that said otherwise. Today's discovery was different. The metal he just retrieved wasn't mining scrap. It bore the emblem of the Solaris Legion, a pre-exile human defense unit, wiped from all Concord archives, buried with intent. Back at the junk bay, Voran Dax wiped engine grease from his cybernetic fingers. The man looked more like a dismantled machine than a technician. Former Terran military, one of the few survivors of the exile who remembered Earth not as a myth, but a memory. "You found it in the dark zone?" Voran asked, voice low. Cal nodded, placing the alloy on a cluttered bench. It hummed, still active. Voran stiffened. "That's not scrap. That's a tag." Sarah leaned in, brushing curly dark hair from her eyes. "Tag for what?" Voran pulled a chipped interface rod from a locked drawer. "Beacon marker, used by deep-range scouts during the collapse. If this lit up for you, someone or something pinged it." Kale frowned. "You think it's alive?" "I think we're standing in a graveyard built over ghosts," Voran said, slotting the rod into a battered console. The lights flickered. A deep, thrumming tone resonated through the room. A holographic glyph shimmered above the console, burnt orange and shaped like a phoenix wreathed in fractured stars. It spun once, then expanded into coordinates. "Unknown system. No Concord designation." Sarah whispered, "That's not in our sector." "Not in any registered sector," Voran said grimly, "but I've seen this symbol before. During the final year before Earth was lost. It was part of Operation Ashfall." Kale's chest tightened. "Ashfall? Like the stories? The final fallback?" Voran nodded. "A secret evacuation order. Not for civilians. For tech. For command AIs. For weapons so advanced even the Concord feared them. But Earth was burned," Sarah said. "There was no fallback." "That's what they wanted you to believe." Before the group could speak further, the base's emergency klaxon screamed. Harsh, red pulses strobed across rusted steel walls. "Concord patrols?" Kale asked, already grabbing a plasma cutter. "Worse," Voran said, loading a relic sidearm with trembling hands. "They must have detected the beacon pulse. And if so..." A deep tremor shook the floor. The console flickered and died. Outside, the mining colony's thin atmosphere howled as a sleek, black vessel descended, one bearing no insignia. Kyle's stomach sank. "We need to go, now." "But the pulse," Sarah protested. "We come back," Kyle said. "With a ship, with allies." "If we run," Voran warned, "they'll erase this place like they erased Earth." Kyle met his gaze. His voice was steel. "Then we don't run. We make them remember." Chapter 2. Ghost Code. The stolen freighter bucked violently as it ripped through the debris ring beyond Nearest-12. Kale gritted his teeth, hands locked on the manual throttle. His knuckles were white. Behind them, a sleek Concorde pursuit craft spun through the asteroid field, its plasma lances slicing chunks of rock into vapor. "Shields are dropping," Sarah shouted from the co-pilot seat. "We can't outgun them." "We're not trying to," Kyle growled. "Hold on." He slammed the controls into a hard yaw. The freighter twisted sharply, diving toward the denser part of the belt. Alarms screamed. Impact warnings lit the dashboard. But Kale knew what the Concorde pilots didn't. This sector was littered with old mining tunnels, tight crawl spaces barely large enough for the freighter's hull. But if he threaded it right, the ship plunged into darkness. Chipped metal scraped the outer hull. Static filled the comms. The Concorde ship hesitated, then peeled away. They'd taken the bait. Inside the freighter's hull, silence settled. Sarah sagged back in her seat, chest heaving. "You're insane," she muttered. "You're alive," Cal shot back. Voren stumbled forward from the rear bulkhead, eyes wide. "Where are we?" Cal checked the nav readout. System black zone. No official Concorde tags. But he tapped a new coordinate flashing on the console, a feed piggybacked from the beacon they activated earlier. That pulse gave us a trail. Sarah leaned in. The coordinates blinked rhythmically, as if waiting. "It wants us to follow." They arrived in a dead system, Vela 99 according to the beacon's old data cache. A neutron star burned dimly in the distance, casting pale blue light across shattered planetary rings and twisted remnants of orbital stations. Everything here had been broken, some of it clearly by weapons fire, the rest by time. "Welcome to the grave," Voren murmured. At the system's edge, nestled beneath a splintered asteroid, they found it. A ship, but not just any ship. This one was Terran, ancient, predating the exile by at least 50 years. Its hull was scorched black, with portions melted into jagged spires. It looked like something had burned through time itself to preserve it. They docked cautiously. Inside, the air was dry and sterile. Dust floated like ghost matter in zero gravity. Lights flickered in some corridors while others remained in total darkness. The ship was silent, too silent. Then Sarah found the core. "A sealed AI unit," she said, breathless. "Still dormant, not conquered. Terran encryption, but upgraded beyond anything I've ever seen." Voren ran his fingers along the control node, reverently. "This is Astra." Kyle blinked. "That's a myth." "No," Voren said. "Astra was Earth's last battlefield command intelligence. She wasn't on the planet when the purge hit. She was here, in this system, coordinating fallback strikes." Sarah worked quickly. "I can't crack it, but if we use the beacon's pulse as a key..." "Do it." She linked the device. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a pulse. Software rhythmic. A holographic form flickered into being. A woman made of starlight and shattered code. Her features were blurred, flickering between identities. "Unit designation confirmed. Astra online." Kale stepped forward. "You know who we are?" "You are remnants," she replied calmly. "Flesh born of ash, children of the burnt sky." The phrase struck like a blow. Kyle could feel the air change around them. "What happened to Earth?" he asked. Astra paused. "Earth was not destroyed by cosmic accident. The Concorde orchestrated a solar ignition event, classified as Operation Radiant Silence. Estimated human casualties. 9.3 billion, Sarah gasped. Voren looked like he'd aged 10 years in a second. "Why?" Cal whispered. "To prevent Terran ascendancy. Your people achieved AI-human neural integration, dark matter propulsion, and subspace weaponry. Concorde's High Triumvirate labeled it a destabilizing threat. The decision was unilateral." Sarah's voice trembled. "Are there others like you?" "Yes," Astra said. 6 surviving AIs. Vault locations encoded within my core. Coordinates require multi-key authorization." Kyle clenched his fists. "What do we need to unlock them?" "You must return to Vault 9P. A coordinate blinked into existence. A dead system near the galactic rim. "A cache?" Voren asked. "A civilization seed," Astra confirmed. "Technology, warships, neural archives, and terraforming units. A chance to reclaim." The lights flickered again. Warning chimes echoed down the corridor. "They found us," Sarah said. Kale turned to Astra. "Can you help us get out?" Her starlight form shimmered brighter. "I was built for war." As they fled the broken system, Kale stared out at the distant stars. Earth was gone, but its memory burned brighter now, not just in legend, but in code, steel, and the ghosts of their ancestors. He whispered to himself, "We're not just surviving anymore. We're coming back." Chapter 3. The Concorde's Dogs. The moment they entered the Kalar Drift, Astra's voice echoed coldly through the ship. Hostile signature approaching. Vessel class, Concorde Hunter. Designation, Varn Reaper. Kyle's jaw clenched. He'd heard stories of the Varn, genetically engineered hunters used by the Concorde for purging exiled populations. Fast, precise, merciless. They didn't take prisoners. They didn't speak. They just killed. "Can we outrun it?" Sarah asked, already powering up the freighter's thin shielding. Vorin slammed his fist into a console. "Not in this crate. They'll tear us apart in open space." Astra's form flickered on the command deck. "There is one option. A mining station buried in the drift. Abandoned. It has shielding. You may be able to hide. Or trap ourselves," Cal muttered. But they had no choice. The freighter dove into the thick ice dust of the drift, its engines straining against the density. Sensors went blind. Static flooded comms. Astra's guidance was the only thread they had, her voice calm, even as metal groaned. "There," she said, highlighting a shadow in the dust. "Structure, Halion 3 mining hub, offline for 42 years. The station emerged from the fog, massive, ring-shaped, covered in frost and decay. They docked in silence, weapons drawn. Inside, the corridors were dark, except for emergency lights flickering like dying stars. Ice lined the walls. The place smelled of rust and rot. Cal moved ahead with Sarah and Vorin close behind. Their boots echoed down hollow metal halls. "Doesn't feel empty," Sarah whispered. They reached the central control room. Astra pulsed into view. "I've locked the docking clamps, but we are not alone." Cal spun. "What?" Footsteps echoed from deeper in the station. Heavy, inhuman. A low growl followed. Then it stepped into the light. 7 feet tall, clad in dark ribbed armor, 4 arms, no face, just a smooth, reflective visor. The Varn, it charged. Kyle barely rolled aside as it crashed through a bulkhead. Sarah fired a shock pulse. Useless. The Varn swatted her into the wall. Vorin opened fire with his relic pistol, staggering the creature for a moment. Kyle dove for a fallen pipe, jamming it into the Varn's side. It screeched, grabbing him by the throat. Suddenly, the wall shimmered. Astra appeared beside them, not as a hologram, but through the station's failing systems. "Override protocol, gravity spike." The room shifted, artificial gravity surged, then reversed. The Varn slammed into the ceiling with bone-shattering force. Kale collapsed, coughing, as the gravity normalized. The Varn twitched once, then stilled. "Is it dead?" Sarah asked, limping over. Vorin knelt beside it. "This one is. But if they sent a scout, more are coming." Astra confirmed it. "They will not stop. You've activated a line they meant to stay buried." Kyle looked down at the Varn's body. "They feared what we found." "They still do," Astra said, "which is why you must leave now. Vault 9P is no longer a choice. It's your only chance." Vorin tapped the ship's route display. "It's a 3-jump run through hostile zones." Kyle stood slowly. "Then we do it quietly. No more stalling. No more running." He stared at the Varn's corpse, an engineered killer meant to wipe out his kind. "Let the conquered come," Kale said. "Let them send more." His voice was low, steady, and dangerous. "We'll send them back in pieces." Chapter 4. Vault of the Phoenix. The jump to Vault 9P pushed the freighter to its limits. Its hull rattled, groaned, and nearly tore apart in the subspace corridor. Sarah clenched her teeth as sparks showered from the overhead panels. "We lose another coil, and we're space dust," she snapped. "We'll make it," Kyle said. He didn't look away from the swirling storm outside the viewport. "We have to." When they emerged, the silence was unreal. A dead star hung like a black scar in space, its gravity tugging at the wreckage of shattered moons. And there, carved into the surface of an artificial planetoid, lay the entrance to Vault 9P. No lights, No welcoming beacon, just a single Terran symbol etched into the hull, a phoenix rising from ash. Landing was rough, but the docking clamps held. The vault's airlock hissed open after Astra transmitted her credentials. Inside it was cold, not just the temperature, but the feeling, ancient and untouched. Ghosts of a lost civilization floated in the dark. Varian exhaled slowly. This place was real. A long hallway stretched before them, walls lined with inert drones, sealed blast doors and black mirrors that seemed to reflect their fears more than their faces. Power's offline, Sarah noted, but the systems are intact. No conquered tampering. They reached the central core, a towering column of dark crystal, dormant yet humming faintly. This is the seed, Astra said. Within it lies humanity's last true arsenal. Kyle placed his hand on the console. The vault awoke, lights flared, systems hummed to life. Along the walls, Terran weaponry unfolded like blooming metal flowers. Plasma rifles, anti-armor drones, stealth armor that shimmered as it moved. In the next chamber, they found ships, sleek, black-hulled corvettes, powered by dark matter cores. Warships lost to history, and then deeper still, something stranger, a suspended chamber with cryopods, hundreds of them. Genetic samples, Astra explained. Leaders, scientists, soldiers, stored before the purge. If Earth fell, they were meant to rise. Sarah stared in awe. This isn't just a vault, it's a civilization in a box. Kyle stepped forward. How many of these vaults exist? 6 remain, Astra answered. Scattered, hidden, waiting. Voran's brow furrowed. Then why haven't the Conquered found this one? Because I erased it, Astra said. From every system, every signal, even from myself, until you restored my core. A warning tone echoed. Unidentified craft approaching. No Concord markings. Kyle's eyes narrowed. Could be scavengers. Or spies, Voran muttered. Sarah activated the vault's outer defenses. We just lit a beacon. The galaxy's watching now. Kyle looked around. At the weapons, the pods, the ships. We can't hold this place with 3 people, he said. We need others. Fighters. Survivors. I can transmit encrypted coordinates, Astra offered. Old Terran emergency bands. Some may still listen. Kyle nodded. Do it. Voran crossed his arms. You're building an army. No, Kyle said. I'm rebuilding a people. He stared at the phoenix emblem above the vault. The Conquered burned our sky. Now it's our turn to rise from the fire. Chapter 5. The Broken Flame. The signal crackled through the void, soft, encrypted, barely a whisper. Yet it reached ears long hidden, far beyond the last known human outposts. Survivors, rebels, forgotten warriors scattered across the galactic fringe. Kyle watched the flickering console as the first replies appeared. Coded, cautious, but alive. We have contact, Sarah said, voice tight with hope. They're responding. Voran exhaled, though tension etched every line of his face. Some will join, others won't. Kyle nodded. They've been hunted for decades. Trust is scarce. Days passed in a blur of preparations. The vault hummed with life as weapons came online, ships revived, and ancient knowledge flowed through Astra's systems. But it wasn't just the Concord they had to fear. Old wounds and rivalries lurked beneath the surface. The first arrivals were a ragtag fleet of freighters and fighters, humans marked by hardship, each carrying scars of exile and survival. Among them was Mara Ven, a firebrand captain whose name was whispered with reverence and fear. I'm not here to rebuild the past, Mara said during the council meeting. We fight to reclaim our future. Kyle studied her carefully. Her conviction burned hot but unpredictable. That night, Cal stood overlooking the planetoid's barren surface, the cold stars a distant chorus above. The weight of leadership pressed on him harder than any enemy's weapon. You worry too much, Sarah said, joining him quietly. The broken flame is still a flame. He smiled faintly. But a flame can burn down the whole forest if not controlled. Suddenly, alarms shattered the silence. The vault's sensors flared. Multiple Concord vessels dropping out of warp, weapons hot. Prepare to defend, Kale ordered, heart pounding. The first salvo hit the outer shields with a thunderous roar. The fleet scrambled into battle formation, plasma beams cutting through the void like deadly ribbons. Astra's tactical systems flared to life, guiding their counterattacks. But the Concorde was relentless. In the chaos, a trusted lieutenant, Jaren Sol, was hit. His ship exploded in a silent bloom of fire and debris. Kale's fist slammed into the console. "We can't lose more." Mara's voice cut through the comms. "The Vault's defense systems are designed for containment, not war. We need to move." "Move where?" Kyle shouted. "To the inner sanctum. There's a contingency." They barely made it. Deep within the vault, a hidden chamber revealed an ancient war machine, a towering exosuit of dark alloy, pulsing with dormant power. Kyle climbed inside, feeling the suit's weight settle over him like a second skin. Astra's voice was his guide. Neural sync initiated. Weapons online. Outside, the battle raged, but inside, Cal felt something awaken, something primal. When he emerged, the battlefield shifted. The exosuit moved with deadly grace, turning the tide as plasma cannons and missile pods roared. Yet victory came at a cost. The vault trembled violently. "We've triggered a failsafe," Astra warned. "The vault's core is destabilizing." Kyle's heart sank. "We need to evacuate." As ships scrambled for escape, Kyle's mind was torn. Leave the vault's secrets or risk total destruction? Sarah grabbed his arm. "We carry what we can. The rest is lost." With heavy hearts, they fled, the vault collapsing in a fiery cascade behind them. In the aftermath, Kyle stood among the survivors, staring at the burning horizon. "The broken flame, it's not just a symbol," he said. "It's a warning." Mara approached, her eyes fierce but tired. "Next time, we fight smarter." Kyle nodded. "Next time, we don't just survive, we win." Chapter 6: Shadows of the Past. The cold void swallowed the burning remnants of Vault 9P. Survivors clung to battered ships, their faces etched with exhaustion and grim determination. The Concorde's assault had been fierce, too fierce to ignore. Kale sat in the command chair, the weight of loss pressing down like a black hole. Every decision now felt like a gamble with lives on the line. Sarah hovered nearby, running diagnostics. "We salvaged what we could, but the Concorde won't stop. They know what we're trying to rebuild." Vorin paced the bridge, fingers drumming a restless rhythm. "We're hunted ghosts. Every system we enter, every alliance we try to forge, they send their dogs after us." Kyle nodded grimly. "It's time we take the fight to them." The plan was desperate but necessary. They targeted Kaldar Prime, a forgotten outpost rumored to house relics of Terran rebellion. Data archives, weapon caches, maybe allies still hidden in the shadows. Astra's fragmented memory stirred as the ship jumped into the Kaldar system. Dark clouds of ionized gas swirling against the cold stars. "Caution," Astra warned. "The Concorde monitors this sector heavily." The freighter slipped through the outer defenses undetected, but as they approached the surface, a flicker on the scanners caught Kale's eye. "Movement," he murmured. "Not ours." "Scouts," Vorin said sharply. "Enemy patrols." Kyle clenched his fists. "We'll have to fight." The outpost was a maze of rusted corridors and shattered tech. The Concorde had torn through it long ago, but traces of resistance lingered. Hidden bunkers, encrypted comms, graffiti of defiance scrawled on broken walls. Deep inside, they found survivors, few but fierce. Led by a man called Liam Drex, whose eyes burned with the same fire Kale remembered from the old stories. "You're not alone," Liam said, gripping Kale's arm. "We've waited for this day." Together, they unearthed caches of Terran tech, pulse rifles that hummed with latent energy, armored suits capable of bending light, and maps marking secret human enclaves scattered across the galaxy. But the past held darker secrets. Encrypted logs revealed that during the Purge, some Terrans had betrayed their own, selling out colonies in desperate bids for survival. Kale felt the sting of betrayal ripple through him. The Concorde wasn't the only enemy. Back aboard the freighter, tension simmered. Mara confronted Kale. "If we're to rebuild, we need unity. But distrust runs deeper than any war." Kale looked at her, weary but resolute. "Then we start by facing the shadows we left behind." The next jump would take them deeper into enemy territory, to a system whispered about in terrified tones, the Maw. Astra's voice softened. A place where humanity's darkest moments were forged. Cal stared into the swirling abyss outside the viewport. This war isn't just for survival, he said quietly. It's for redemption. Chapter 7. Children of the Burnt Sky. The Maw was a dead system, a ghost nest of twisted asteroid fields and shattered worlds, remnants of battles long past. Even the Concorde avoided it, fearing what lingered in its shadows. Cal's ship slipped through the debris, the silence deafening. The crew's nerves were taut as the final phase of their journey began. "We're close," Astra said. "Beyond this lies the heart of the Exile Network, hidden Terran colonies forgotten by history." Vorin tightened his grip on the console. "This is where we make our stand." They landed on the largest asteroid, a fortress carved from black stone and jagged metal. Human faces, hardened by years of isolation, greeted them, not with suspicion, but cautious hope. Liam Drek stepped forward. "Welcome home." The Children of the Burnt Sky, the name given to the scattered remnants who refused to die quietly, had built a hidden civilization here, forged from ashes and defiance. Cal felt a surge of pride and sorrow. We're more than survivors. We're the legacy they tried to erase. But the Concorde was relentless. Their fleet descended, dark and massive, stars blinking out beneath the crushing weight of their armada. The battle was cataclysmic. Explosions tore through the asteroid fortress. Plasma and missile fire lit the black skies. Kyle, clad in the war exosuit, moved through the chaos like a shadow made of iron and fire. Sarah piloted their ship with precision, weaving through enemy fire. Mara led the ground forces, her voice a rallying cry amid the roar of war. Amidst the carnage, Astra uncovered the Concorde's true plan, a devastating weapon capable of erasing entire planets from existence. "We can't let them activate it," she warned. Cal fought his way to the weapon's control center, every step a battle. The walls were scorched, the air thick with smoke and desperation. There he faced the Concorde's commander, a towering figure clad in gleaming armor, eyes burning with cold fury. "You're nothing but a remnant," the commander sneered. "Your time is over." Cal's voice was steady. "You underestimated us." The fight was brutal, a clash of strength and will, ancient technology against raw human determination. With a final, desperate surge, Cal disabled the weapon's core, triggering a chain reaction. The fortress shook violently. "Evacuate!" Kyle shouted. As they fled, the Children of the Burnt Sky watched their home crumble, but their spirit blazed brighter than ever. The Concorde's armada retreated, battered and broken. Kale stood among his people, scars deep but unyielding. "We were erased," he said, voice carrying across the ruins. "But we are not gone. We are the fire that burns beneath the ashes, the children of a burnt sky destined to rise." The galaxy would remember humanity, not as a forgotten exile, but as a force reborn.